Hey guys, in this video we're going to be covering activity 5B.4. Our mastery learning objective is I can construct a two-way frequency table of a real-world situation by interpreting data given and a written scenario. I think that's supposed to say. Our first example says the two-way frequency table shows some information about the numbers of students in a school. Complete the two-way frequency table. So the first thing is, what are we comparing here? We see boys and girls on one side, and then we see year group, meaning like what level, so sophomore, junior, senior, or freshman, sophomore, junior year, and we see our total. So kind of have to fill in those empty spaces. So what we're going to have to do here is you're going to have to work backwards. So I'm going to start looking at the total, so of my boys. I see that I have a total of 407. Well, I don't know how many freshmen or how many sophomores are there, so I kind of can't fill in those two yet. Some things that we can fill in is, let's look at our totals here. So I see this 303, this 256. I have this missing space, but I know that they all add up to 831. So to find that missing space, all I have to do is I have to take that 831 and subtract it by the other two. So what I'm going to do on my calculator here is I'm going to say 831, and I'm going to subtract the total amount of sophomores, so minus 256. And then I'm also going to subtract the amount of freshmen, which is 303. That should give me how many of my juniors there are, and that's going to be 272. Okay, now I'm going to work up a little bit, and I'm going to be focusing on my juniors. Okay, so I see that I have 125 boys. I need to figure out how many girls there are, but I know that that's going to add up now to 272. So I'm going to take that 272, and I'm going to subtract it by the amount of junior boys, which is 125. And that's going to give me 147. 147. Okay. I'm also going to be looking at our totals. So I see that our total number of people we have here is 831, which is still right there. And I'm going to go ahead and subtract the number of boys there are in total in all grade levels. So 831, I'm going to subtract the amount of boys, which is 407. And that should give me how many girls there are, which is 424. Alright, from there now I can figure out how many freshman girls there are. So I see that 424, and I'm going to subtract the 147 in that 123. So what I'm doing here is I'm looking at this number, and I know these two numbers are the ones that add up. I have to find that missing number of freshman girls. So 424 minus 147 minus 123 equals 154. Obviously, there's many ways that you can start filling in your chart. I just kind of start working wherever I see, and then I work backwards. So now I'm going to look at the total number of freshmen there are. This 303. I know I have to combine the boys and girls, so I'm going to take my 303, and I'm going to subtract the amount of girls to give me the amount of boys, which is 149. And let's use green. Same thing here, my total number of sophomores. I see my girls, I need to figure out my boys. So I'm going to take that 256, and I'm going to subtract it by 123. It gives me a number of boys of 133. So yes, you're going to have to go ahead and fill in our charts. So you just basically have to work backwards. And the biggest thing you need to remember is that when you are moving across the row, right, you're adding, right? And this is what it's going to equal. Likewise, if you're moving down a row, so if you're going this way, you're going to add these two, and this is what they equal, okay? So you're adding until you get to your totals. All right, let's go ahead and read example number 2 and try to fill in our two-way frequency table and find some probabilities. So it says here there are 150 children at camp, and 75 of them signed up for swimming. Okay, so I see 150, 71 of them signed up for swimming. There were a total of 62 children that signed up for canoeing, and 28 of them also signed up for swimming. Create a two-way frequency table summarizing the data. All right, so now here, what are the things that we're comparing? Well, we see our kids are at camp. We know that there's 150 of them. That's kind of important. We know that's going to be our grand total down here. And they signed up for either swimming or they signed up for canoeing. So those are going to be our two scenarios. We either are going to be signed up for swimming or we're going to be signed up for canoeing. Yeah, canoeing. Now, you either are swimming or not swimming. This is going to be our total here. And then you either are canoeing or not canoeing. And then this again is our total. So now we have to work back a little bit here. So there are 150 children at camp, and 71 of them signed up for swimming. So this is just swimming total, right? How many signed up for swimming? 71. There were a total of 62 children that signed up for canoeing. This one. So 62 children that signed up for canoeing. That's not the right green I wanted to use. I wanted to show you the difference of greens. So 62 signed up for just canoeing. So out of my canoeing, total number of people, 62. 28 of them also signed up for swimming. So of the people that are canoeing, 28 of them signed up for swimming. So where does canoeing and swimming meet? That would be right here at 28. Okay. Next sentence, it just says create a two-way frequency table. So now we have to go ahead and fill out the rest of our numbers. So if I look at my total number of canoeing people, that's 62, right? If I subtract the amount of people that I know are swimming, that's going to give me the amount of people that are canoeing but are not swimming. And that's going to give me a total of 34. If I figure out my totals, I know that there was 150 people total. If I subtract the amount of people that were canoeing, which was 62, that's going to give me the total of 88 people that are not canoeing. If I see my total of 150, again, and I know that 71 of them are swimming, how many are not swimming? Well, we subtract those to get 79. Now we can go ahead and figure out the amount of people that are swimming and not canoeing, or not doing either of them. So of my 71, I'm going to go ahead and subtract the people I know are swimming and canoeing. And that's going to give me 43 people that are not doing canoeing, but they are swimming. I'm also going to take my 79 for my total people that are not swimming. And I'm going to subtract the people that are canoeing so that I can figure out how many people are not doing either. So that's going to be 45. All right, so now I just kind of simply answer all my probabilities. So right here, it's telling me, what is the probability of canoeing? Well, how many people were canoeing? That would be 62 out of my 150. Again, always remember you need to simplify. And again, you just type in 62 divided by 50 in your calculator, and you will get 31 over 75. So that is the probability. Letter B, what is the probability of swimming and canoeing? So and basically means where they intersect. Where does swimming and canoeing meet? And that would be right here at 28. So this is going to be 28 over my total number of people. And again, see if you can simplify it. It can. So when you type this in your calculator, it will simplify it to 14 over 75. Let me scroll this up a little bit. Next one is our given statements. So probability of not canoeing given you're not swimming. So really I'm looking at the people that are not swimming and trying to figure out how many of those are also not canoeing. So remember how we write this. This is going to be the probability of not swimming, and wherever it meets, so and not canoeing, and we're going to divide that by the second event, which was the probability of not swimming. Alright, so where does not swimming and not canoeing meet? That will be 45 out of my 150. All over the probability of just people not swimming, which would be 79 over 150. When we are simplifying these, we see that it's just going to be 45 over 75, or 45 over 79. I think I said 75. All right, that cannot be simplified, so that is our final answer. Okay, let's go ahead and do example number 3. Example number 3, we are still making a two-way frequency table. Our scenario here is there are 100 customers in a restaurant that were asked whether they liked chicken or beef and whether they liked rice or pasta. Out of 30 customers that liked rice, 20 liked chicken. There were 60 customers that liked chicken. So what are the things we're combining? Well, we're doing chicken or beef. And here's going to be our total. What are they liking? They either like pasta or rice. Right, so rice or pasta. And here's our total as well. Alright, so let's kind of start reading this. It says that there are 100 customers in a restaurant. So we know that's going to be our total. That were asked whether they like chicken or beef. So out of 30 customers that liked rice. So that's going to be my total number of people that liked rice. So my rice people is a total of 30. Out of those 30 people, 20 of them also liked chicken. So I'm going to write my 20 right here. There were 60 customers that liked chicken. So total number here is going to be 60. So now we have to figure out where the opposites, where the missing pieces are. Our totals are nice and easy, right? Because if it's 30, I know that the total number of pasta lovers and likers have to be 70 because that has to add up to 100. I also know that the total number of beef people have to be 40 because, again, 60 plus 40 is 100, right? We're adding these to equal that 100. Trying to figure out the people that like chicken, how many like pasta? Well, we just kind of subtract working backwards. So that's going to be 40, which means my beef lovers this way, if I have to add something to get 70, that's going to be 30. And making this one 10, because either way, if I add this way, I know this is going to equal 30. Or if I'm working down this way, 10 plus 30 is going to equal 40, right? So kind of a lot of ways that you can figure this out. I'm going to just go ahead and erase our plus signs and arrows so that you guys can easily see later which numbers are which. Okay, I just want to show you where I got those numbers from. All right, so the first question. What is the probability of people liking pasta? So pasta likers are our total pasta. So total pasta is over here, which is at 70. So 70 over 100 is going to go ahead and simplify to 7 over 10. Our probability of rice and chicken. So where does rice and chicken meet? That's going to be right here at 20. So 20 over 100. Again, simplify if you can. That was going to give you 1/5. And that is the probability of rice and chicken. And our last one here is the probability of pasta given that they like beef. So remember, when you have to write our probability, when we have those given statements, you have to write the probability of beef and pasta. So where do they meet? Where do they intersect on our table? All over the probability of the given part, which is beef. All right, so where does beef and pasta meet? That's going to be right here at 30. So this is going to be 30 out of our total of 100. All over our beef people, that only is going to be 10 out of I miscounted. That should be 40, right? Because 60 plus 40 is 100. So that was a typo on my part. I thought I wrote 40. I must have just never made the 4. So that should have been 40 over 100. And this is going to be our total of 30 over 40. Right? If we can simplify that, which you can divide both top and bottom by 10. That's going to be 3/4. Alright, so that brings us to the end of this video, and it actually brings us to the end of Target B. So what you are to work on now is B activity, and then get ready to work on that AB quiz review, and then take your AB quiz. Good luck, guys.